I always remember going to NPC and being in the huge crowd that's there, and there's a lot of energy and excitement. Lots of founders at all stages, very early stage, not started yet, and all of that. So it's always fantastic to be at NPC. So thanks, folks, for all coming in on a nice chilly Friday morning. So hopefully Godard has set the stage on fire. Uh, the biggest challenge for founders is to find people to buy your software. And so Godard is basically telling you that people are buying more software, more types of software, and people are buying more and more of the same software. And what he said blew my mind, right? 1,295 apps that an average enterprise uses, and that's growing even more. And we are at a $600 billion in the software product industry, and we are heading to I think he said $10 trillion. So it's insane amount of growth that's there, and I'm hoping that that's going to continue, and it's going to be a rising tide that lifts all boats. This session in particular is going to go a little more into the nuances of how different ACVs work, and ACV is annual contract value. So one of the things that Goda touched upon was that an SMB, small business, buys about 120 SaaS products or software products, and a large business and enterprise buys 1,200 SaaS products. So when you see that there is a difference that way, there is also a difference in how they buy software. There is also a difference in how a finance professional might buy software for themselves versus how a developer might buy software for themselves, right? So all of these are extremely different. And we have three speakers here who are going to talk about how they sell software at different scales of the ticket size that the buyer buys. So we'll first have Sunil. Sunil is from Signeasy. They sell products that are sold at between $1,000 a month to a few $1,000s a month. We'll then have Srividhya, who's talking about selling software at the hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in a very vertical category. And then we'll have Yamini, who's talking about how to sell software to BFSI at a $100,000 plus per year, right? So these folks are in very, very different spaces. And I'll just do a quick intro before I hand over to Sunil. We'll do Sunil first, and then Srividhya, and then Yamini to bring up the end of it. I know Sunil for almost 7 years now. He was in the Microsoft Accelerator in cohort before I joined. Sunil's product, being from India, is on the top tier partner list of not just Apple, but also Google and several other top tier vendors globally. So when Godard was talking about how platforms are the next big thing and selling through platforms is the next big thing, Sunil has been doing that for 10 years now. He's one of the few folks whose apps have actually been on the stage at Apple's events and Google's events. And in one of those slides, I remember Sunil's is the only business that is not a unicorn in that list, right? So you can imagine that Signeasy is going places. I will introduce Srividhya and Yamini when we get to their talks. But Sunil today is going to talk about, a little bit about his app. But more than that, when you sell something at $1,000 price point, $1,000 a year or $1,000 a month, in that kind of stage, what are Sunil's learnings over the last 10, 11 years of running Signeasy, and how have they transitioned that pricing? And if Sunil found I guess a 30-year-old Sunil or a 35-year-old Sunil, what would you give as your top 5 learnings? So over to you, Sunil.
Thank you, Prasanna. Can you hear me? Okay. Thanks for the kind introduction. I'm just going to share my screen, and then we'll get started. All right. Like Prasanna mentioned, I'm the founder and CEO of Signeasy. We are the easiest way to sign, send, and manage important documents and contracts from anywhere and any device. What I'm going to cover here, I know I have like maybe 8 to 10 minutes, is to just give you a high-level glance of Signeasy, our traction, the products that we provide, and a mix of our customers and ACVs that we cater to. Then I'm going to segue into how do you price your product? What has been the packaging of a product? And then how much time did it take for us to go from one milestone to another milestone in the ARR basis? And then followed by GTM motions and what worked for us, and a few learnings at the end of the call, at the end of the presentation here. So Sign is an easy to use cross-platform and a cloud-based e-signature solution with an offering for also a document workflow solution built for businesses, right? We were founded in 2010. We started as more of a simple and easy mobile app for consumers and professionals to sign documents on the go. And since then, over the last 5 years, we have evolved into a real B2B SaaS solution that is cross-platform. And our headquarters are in Dallas, and our R&D center is in Bangalore. We serve over 160,000 customers in over 55,000 companies worldwide. And the main benefits that we provide to our customers is to, go completely digital and paperless in their business processes and workflows. And thus they could save time and money, reduce contract turnaround times, and overall improve the experience, with customers, partners, and employees. In terms of traction, we have over 8 million users. We have been a profitable company for the last 4 or 5 years, mainly bootstrapped and capital efficient. We have grown around 20 to 25% year over year. In the business customers that this presentation is focused on, we see over 120% net revenue retention. And we have handled close to 90 million documents so far, 90 million transactions. And being a global app from day one, we support 24 languages in our product, and our customers are in over 180 countries. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of a customer mix, mainly in the SMB and mid-market, heavily leaning towards SMB. And in our highest end of our SMB segment, we see over 90% retention logo, and the NPS lies in the high 50s right now. So at a high level, the product is, we have three offerings. SaaS is our bread and butter, where customers buy us from, they discover us in marketplaces, discover us in app stores, they discover us online, and they like the easy to use product experience, and they go for a trial or they look for a demo, and they purchase the product. We also have an API platform for developers to customize and integrate their own version of e-signatures into their vertical applications. And we also maintain our own first-party integrations, like Prasanna mentioned, in terms of Google Marketplace, Freshworks, Microsoft Office 365 Marketplace, and so forth. So I'm going to skip over this. The main workflows that we provide are basic and electronic advanced signatures, and it allows you to send signatures for requests to multiple parties to in multiple routing orders. It helps you sign in-person documents on the field. It also helps you sign documents on the go from your mobile device, right? And all of this allows a customer to get approvals, process signatures from the customers and employees wherever they are. And this is provided in a space in a highly secure environment, which comes with two-factor authentication, and it comes with HIPAA compliance, SOC 2 Type 2 compliance, and a lot of those advanced business features in terms of reusability of templates, centralized dashboard for user management, and also the ability to integrate into your own line of applications. This is kind of a range of the customers that we serve. You will see customers from 10 employees to all the way to 1,000 or a few thousand employees. And you will see some of the largest companies, both in India and worldwide, use Signeasy. Some of the names that pop up are Unacademy, CureFit, Rappi, AngelList, Freshworks, many of the leading companies, fast-growing startups in many sectors. They rely on Signeasy to completely digitize their document workflows. So this is where we start about, like what kind of customer ticket sizes that we serve, right? So historically, because of our mobile-first nature, we started on the lower end of SMB, and we have like close to 30 to 40,000 customers just in that lower end of SMB, which is individuals and small business owners. But as we have taken a shift towards focusing more on businesses, helping businesses digitize their operations, right now the mix is around 60 to 40% in SMB. SMBs are less than 100 employees, and then mid-market is from few hundred to 1,000 and maybe a few thousand employees. And you could see the ACVs range, it could be around, closer to $1,000 with the maximum range could be few $1,000s. But when we go to mid-market, our average ACV is kind of double and triple, and then we can also see a higher end of ACVs, which are all the way to $40,000 to $50,000. And because of these two different types of customer segments, our GTM motions, which is, how does marketing drive visitors or signups? How do sales close them? Is it self-service or is it a sales assist? And how do we really expand those customers? You will see some, information there, right? For SMB, we mainly focus on trials and inbound, which is kind of self-serviced. And then when it comes to mid-market, they either come through a trial or a demo, and then we usually use top-down selling for either expansion or more upselling. The way we have priced our product is mainly for, on the right side, if you can focus, the teams and companies, right? We have two plans. One is a business plan, which starts at $25 per user per month, but it starts at 3 users. And this is the one which comes with all the team and enterprise level support. And then there's an enterprise plan. But it's important to know that because SMB buyer journeys are usually, they start with 1 or 2 seats. They don't necessarily buy a team plan to begin with. So our individual plans serve to those smaller teams, even though they work in bigger companies, where they try the product for a single user, they like the experience, and then they see a lot of value. Then they invite their colleagues, they invite other departments to upgrade to a multi-user plan, which is the business plan. Like our overall revenue is closer to 8 million ARR. We have been running this company for close to 10 years. But over the last 4 years, when we launched our cross-platform product for to serve businesses, that business is doing around 2 million ARR. And you could see that the first 10K ARR, which is like maybe, if I speak in terms of MRR language, $1,000 MRR, it took us almost 12 months. And then the next 12 months, we grew to 100K ARR. Then 100 to 250K, it took us 8 months. And after that, the key milestone, which is a $1 million, in terms of real product market fit, took us close to 20 months. And now that we have learned, like what is working for us, what channels are working, why customers are buying us, how are they discovering us, and what is our unique value proposition, we are seeing a much faster acceleration in terms of growth. So the next million, which is 2 million ARR, took us 12 months, and we expect to maintain the same project forecast over the next year. So what really worked, right? So I think in this world of where companies are using like over 100 SaaS applications, right? Vendors and so forth. What we believe that has worked for us is you provide a business grade product, but with a consumer grade experience, right? And when the consumer grade experience, people expect the buying journey to be very seamless, because we're talking about the ticket sizes are like $1,000 or so forth in ACV, right? So just focusing on delight, creating an intuitive experience, all the way from easy to discover, easy to use, to easy to purchase, and easy to do business with, right? Which is that user friendly mindset that creates a strong word of mouth, right? And once they adopt the product either in the trial version or in the paid version, right? We see like this growing adoption where their usage grows. There are more use cases they are able to implement with Signeasy, and all of that should happen where the experience doesn't degrade, right? The platform and the architecture needs to be highly scalable, and it has to be secure so that businesses feel comfortable to they could start with HR, but they want to use it in legal, or they start with sales and they want to use it in finance. So they want, once they start one solution, they don't want any other security or compliance to become a blocker when it comes to a company-wide usage, right? So that's where security
matters. We have
matters.
about a minute or 2 left, so
sure. I think we should be fine. And then the organic growth basically drives the product awareness and finally the customer demand. So this unique flywheel works when you're serving in the lower SMB segment. And obviously, any company which comes with lower SMB, they also want to go up market, but that you have already built the foundation of that user-friendly experience for your customer base. So the unique differential value is, just to kind of summarize, ease of use, cross-platform, and having a rich integration ecosystem, and make sure the pricing is very uncomplicated, right? You are not surprising the customer with overage or any sort of bundle features that they need to upgrade to, right? So that pricing increases the customer loyalty because it's transparent, and the ease of purchase is also much easier. In terms of GTM motion, it's basically two different journeys that we provide to our customers. There is a self-service path and then the sales assist path. Usually lower end of SMB customers choose the self-service path, and then it goes to mid-market. They use the demo and inquiry path. And accordingly, customer success is segmented with a tech touch or versus a managed accounts where, we know there could be opportunity to expand and, deepen our integrations and adoption. Our top learning so far, being a first-time founder and entrepreneur, we think, we build the best product, you will really dominate the market. But building the best product only helps you get that bottom-up adoption and selling, right? I think the sooner you apply, as soon as you get the product market fit, you apply a top-down selling where, your customer success team is either responsible for expansion, or your outbound team basically works with customer success team and does a top-down selling. They go from executives to other influencers to other champions to promote, to take the use case of one team success and apply it to make it for other teams to buy, and also start freemium as early as possible, right? Free trial and paid helps you because your cost can be lower, because after users the trial expires, they kind of forget about you and you don't have to serve them. But what we have realized is, the future of SaaS is kind of freemium, right? Even enterprise companies are going down the freemium path. So making it freemium means you get higher word of mouth virality, you get higher mindset in terms of brand awareness, and ultimately it will indirectly contribute to more customers coming down your path. And finally, looking at the leading metrics, we're all focused on, in a product-led funnel, drive conversion up, drive conversion up. But just taking a moment, taking a step back and looking at activation and adoption, really understand what is blocking them from not using the product. No, how can you meet their expectations that you kind of made when they came to your site? So just focusing on those leading metrics helps you to unlock answers for your growth bottlenecks. So these are our top three learnings. There's a lot more I could share, but I know I'm limited by the time. But I hope this was useful, and thank you for the opportunity. If you have any questions, you could just reach out to me at my email. It's listed here at the bottom of this slide. Thank you.
Thanks, Sunil. We'll try to do some AMA or something with you folks so that we can take Q&A as well.
Mm-hmm.
So next up is Srividhya. So quick intro of Srividhya. She is one of the few entrepreneurs in the media / broadcast tech industry to have successfully built a fantastic product. For me, I've heard about Amagi. I've seen your office in JP Nagar a long time ago. I used to work very close by. And I think the journey of going from selling ads in a distributed, personalized manner to now doing something completely different is really, really interesting. And I think you've been able to achieve incredible scale in the last couple of years. So would love to hear from you on how you managed to do this shift, and how you sell to your customers, which are not easy customers to sell tech to, right? And how you've made this transition. What are your learnings? And I think Amagi is also almost 8-10 years old at least.
Yes.
And so if you go back to a Srividhya of 10 years ago, what would you tell yourself? I'm really looking forward to hearing you. And I think one of the other things is, I don't think the Amagi story has been told in too many stages. So this is one of the first times ever that you folks are coming out and speaking, because you folks, like, you do a lot of work, but very quietly. So thanks, Srividhya, for coming on board.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sudeep. Sudeep and Prasanna, for the opportunity. I would love to share our journey here through this forum. Please feel free to stop me or ask me any questions if you would like. I'm just going to share my presentation and then we'll get started. Just a second.
We can see your slide.
Yeah, okay. Just give me a second, 1 second. Yeah. Yeah. See, basically, I want to introduce first Amagi. What do we do? Basically, Amagi works in a two-sided market. At one side are the content producers, and the other side are the content platforms. So basically, what we do is we connect the two. We connect the content producers with the content platforms, and thereby all of us watch the content today in Hotstar, in Amazon Prime, in Netflix. Most of what you watch today is coming through this methodology. Amagi plays a certain role in it, actually. So we are actually a cloud-based media technology platform which provides these solutions, and we operate about 500 plus linear channels, and there are 50 plus fast platforms. Fast stands for free ad-supported TV, and 100 OTT platforms, and they are present in 40 countries. Let's see what these are. I'm going to introduce first the customers to you. Right? Amagi works with three market segments, as I explained. At one end are the broadcasters. Broadcasters are people who actually bring the content to you. For example, Star Network is a broadcaster, Z Network is a broadcaster, in Indian examples. Content owners or owners who produce the content. For example, Balaji Telefilms is a content owner. Right? And the US has other content owners like MGM Studios and so on. Platforms are people who actually reach the consumers. Tata Sky is a platform. Amazon Prime is a platform. Netflix is a platform, right? And of course we also work with advertisers, because all of these guys actually get their revenue to the advertisers. And three ways by which TV the way in which we watch TV: we either watch it from through broadcast, or through cable or satellite, or through streaming TV, which is the OTT platform. Cable or satellite is basically DTH, and broadcast is actually terrestrial, which is very popular in the US. If you see broadcasters, right? See broadcasters, and I'm going to kind of quickly go through these slides. I just put some examples so that people who look at these slides later can understand it better. For example, Disney is a broadcast network. CBS is a broadcast network. Justice TV is a DigiNet, and so on. And the other end operators are Dish, Sky, Direct TV, and so on, right? In the case of streaming TV, when you come to OTT, this is primarily talking on the US market. So basically, we have this Netflix, Prime Video, HBO Max. They are all subscription what platforms. Then there are free ad-supported TV platforms like Zumo, Samsung TV Plus, LG as a platform now, Vizio as a platform, Pluto TV as a platform. And then there are other fast platforms which deliver apps to these connected TV platforms like Tubi, Crackle, and so on. And there are also virtual MVPDs, like there used to be virtual MVNOs in the telecom market, like Fubo, Philo, and so on. So, and this is an example of content owners who produce content are called content owners. I'm just going to skip through these slides, right? So, what does Amagi provide? Okay, now I introduce who are the parties with whom we work with. What do we provide? We provide solution by which customers can originate and deliver linear 24/7 channels. And they can deliver what content to platforms, and they can also deliver live events to platforms, and they can monetize the content through content partners. So we can say we have about 4 or 5 products through which our tech stack is available, and customers can choose to either take one of them or choose all of them. Our pricing model, when it comes to pricing model, we have a fixed monthly recurring revenue for certain parts of the solution, like linear channel origination, delivery, white glove managed services, and support. And we also have usage based revenue for certain parts, like ad monetization, media storage, what delivery, analytics. These are all usage based. So there's a fixed monthly price and a usage base. Please understand that this is a vertical SaaS market, unlike a SaaS solution like what Sudeep talked about, which is Signeasy, which everyone would use. I would use, you would use, everybody would use. This is meant for the media market. So because of this, our pricing model was like this. And if you see our annual contracted revenue today per customer is about $250,000. The reason why this number is big is because what we did is actually, before Amagi existed, there was no SaaS for cloud-based media technology. So what used to be there is people used to buy hardware solutions, and they used to build up data centers in which these hardwares are used to actually originate channels, to actually provide they deliver a channel to OTT and so on. And it's still prevalent in many Lagadish broadcaster firms. But now we are moving towards cloud-based media technology way by which the same thing is achieved. So what we did is we converted a hardware capex intensive business to a cloud-based SaaS business. Because of this reason, the number of customers wise, Amagi doesn't have 3,000 customers. We have about 250 customers. But the average ticket size per customer is high. So how did we build this up, right? So if you see ACV over time, initially when we go to a customer, the customer might take one of our services. Maybe they will originate one linear channel using Amagi's cloud platform. That time the initial pricing would be about 60K to 100K per year, depending on whether they have live or they don't have live events. The pricing varies. Over time, they add additional services. They will deliver to one platform, then second platform, third platform. As the customers grow, we also grow. And over time, the revenue goes up to about 250K USD per year. So, what are the key skills needed? Amagi's software is built on cloud engineering. So basically, it uses Kubernetes. It runs on AWS. It runs on GCP. It's based on Dockers. It's meant for scale. All these are there, and deep understanding of the video technology and the video solutions are extremely important, because we are trying to replace hardware solutions with software solutions. So latency is a big consideration for anybody who's telecasting live matches. So we had to solve that problem. There are a lot of challenges like that which we had to address. So what I wanted to stress upon here, it's a very technically intensive solution. Investments needed, as I explained in the previous slide, it's very heavy R&D is required. Right, it's an R&D heavy product-led business. Tens of millions of dollars investments is done. Recent funding to the tune of 100 million was done by our four investors: Axel, Avatar, Norwest, and Premji Invest. This was needed in order to actually invest on the R&D and to do our improve our sales team. In case of timeline of the revenue, our first customer came in about 2015. As Prasanna mentioned, we were in a different business till about 2015-16, and then we pivoted to this business. So even though we have been here for about 9-10 years, so till 2016, we were not in this business. So 2016, our first customer walked in, and the ticket price was 5K per month, right, which is about 60K billing. Then the second customer ramped up in about a couple of months, and then it was about 120K billing, and then slowly customers ramped up to about 100K billing, which resulted in about 1 million yearly billing. So that's how we grow. Right now, our average, we are at an annual recurring revenue of about $100 million. We'll close at about $100 million in about a quarter or so. What are the key contributors to our business momentum, right? So one thing is, by I would say, hook or crook, we were early to the market. When 2016, when we had our first customer who came in and walked in with the first check, that customer was visionary. So, and then the second customer came, he was also in the visionary group. So we were way ahead of the market in terms of what we were thinking. And of course, because of that, we struggled as well. So we were not gaining momentum until about 2018. So that's what this talks about. So basically, we had an early anticipation and preparation of virtualized broadcast workflows on the cloud. We were at the right time, at the right place. In 2018, people realized the value of cloud. People stopped asking questions like, is cloud secure? Will you meet my latency? Will it really work? What happens to my operations team? My operations team is so familiar with our existing products that I don't want to move. All those things slowly started vanishing. Actually, we made the life of customers easy, and it also became cost efficient, right? And of course, the OTT revolution, like, I don't know how many of you have this problem right now. My children just don't watch anything on TV. They don't need any TV connection like a Tata Sky or an Airtel or anything. Everyone watches content only through the OTT platforms like Amazon Prime or a Netflix or through YouTube, right? And of course, the pandemic also helped, even though, I mean, we feel the pandemic is bad, but it actually helped in better adoption of this technology. What are the incorrect assumptions that we made, and what are the learning curves? When we started Amagi, we had three big goals. We wanted to revolutionize the industry. We wanted to, build a $1 billion business, and we also wanted to do it in India for India, because our previous business, we are serial entrepreneurs. The previous business, what we worked on, all our customers were in US. So we thought we'll do it for India in India. But actually, it did not go in that way. We targeted India and EMEA instead of the US, whereas there was a great demand and propensity to growth in the US, and we misestimated that. We also misestimated what should I say, inhibition to move to a cloud-based solution for traditional broadcasters. They found it to be extremely hard to adapt and move to a cloud-based technology, and the time required for that movement, we misestimated it. So two big mistakes we did. One was that time, another one was basically targeting India and EMEA market instead of the US. That was a big mistake I felt we made, right? So, and we repented for it. We didn't initially build the US market till about 2018, wherein one of our other co-founders went into the US market and started seeing the opportunity over there and started building the market. Until that time, we were having less number of customers. This is the number one mistake that we did. So these are the key things that I wanted to share in this presentation. Right now, Amagi is in a big growth trajectory, as Prasanna explained, and we are just adding newer and newer customers, and also our net retention revenue is about 170 basically. So it's really company is growing by leaps and bounds, and this is a vertical SaaS business, and there are challenges. But we are also, enjoying this challenge, and doing very well in this market right now. That's all I had share with you folks. If you all want to reach me, you can reach me through my email, which I will share, and also with I'll provide you my email, and we can definitely get connected and start discussing those.
Srividhya, 170% NRR is simply mind blowing. I think the highest I've ever heard of, whether public or private, is around 145, 152. 170 is
Yes.
just simply mind blowing. I think having kids who don't know what a TV is,
Yes.
and who don't know what ads are, what you're providing, I'm sure will go from strength to strength. I have a lot of questions, right?
Mhm.
But we have a positive time. I think if I had to just ask you one question
Mhm.
on the India-US shift, because I know that's a very common pitfall that a lot of founders fall into. Uh, did people not tell you to go to the US, or what's what's really behind that decision of not going to the US earlier? Was it
So,
fear?
yeah, from 2000, I think we started building geo-targeted ad business in about 2010, 11, and we were in the Indian market till about 15. And we thought that, okay, geo-targeting has its own problems. The broadcasters think that, we are cannibalizing their own ad sales. So, okay, now I have a cloud-based solution, and we might be able to provide the solution to Indian customers. So we work with Indian customers, work with APAC and EMEA customers, even EMEA for that matter, UK. It did not move that well, actually. People were UK is a like
No,
a
no, but I'm asking, what is the
cautious.
mindset? Why did you pick India and why did you not go to the US?
Uh, as I told you, initially we thought that we'll build this company for India, right? Right, where
So
our customers are
patriotism?
happy. We tried to stick on to that goal, and then it did not work until that point where we decided that no, let's go and
Sure.
try the US market. Of course, our investors are actually prodding us, saying that let's go to the
Got
US
it.
market, and
Sure.
then we.
Awesome. So next we have Yamini. Yamini runs Vymo. They are again one of the startups that I've been working with for about 6, 7 years now, and they've had a fantastic run. They sell very large tickets as well. They sell to customers who are supposedly early adopters of tech, but who are very difficult to sell to. So they sell it to banks and insurance companies. So Yamini, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Prasanna. I was just very mesmerized by all the stories I was hearing so far and taking down notes. Okay, so thank you so much. Yeah, I'm Yamini. Vymo, I run Vymo. Vymo is a sales engagement platform. We work within the financial institutions vertical. We sell to banks and insurers, and we're meant to be used by distributed sales teams who are in the whole conversion and relationship management mode, not contact center or inside sales. Right. So this could be financial advisors, agents, relationship managers within the banks, etc. Our broad story at this point in time, like Srividhya was talking about, when we started the company, probably we would land customers in within this ICP, right, at about 50K USD or so. At this point in time, our average lands are at about 125,000 USD. This is across multiple geographies. For us, there are three major regions. Asia is where we were born and grew. And recently, during the pandemic time, we started two new regions, US and Japan. So this averages across these geos. Over time, we have very strong NRR, though I'm a little shy of Srividhya's NRR, but at 140% NRR. And pre-pandemic, we used to be at 180%. I believe we'll get back to 160 in the next 6 months. But with this kind of NRR, what happens is over 2 years, easily accounts are doubling, tripling, right? And that makes our average ECV today at about 350K or so. And typical sales cycle, despite large banks and insurers are probably the toughest, one of the toughest verticals to sell into. But our constant goal is to crash everything that adds up to the sales payback period, right? How quickly do you convert marketing leads to opportunities, opportunities to conversions, conversions to launch, launch to payments, etc. And given the nature of the segment that we work with, how long each of these steps take is something that we track closely and continuously try to operationally crash. Right. So today our sales cycles is about this much. Now, in terms of what mattered most as we were building this company, right? Vymo typically sits on top of CRMs to do three things. One is actively capture sales engagement information, which could be calls, visits, meetings, mails, messages, etc. So you have a 360 view of what sellers are doing, right? We are more focused on behaviors of sellers. It's not meant for monitoring, tracking, etc., because none of that information of that level is given back to their managers. The goal is to get a 360 view of what seller behaviors are, how responsive are they to their customers, how many contacts within an account do they engage, what is their frequency of engagement, what is CSAT after a call, etc. Right. So with that, we translate, we overlay these behaviors with performance to understand what is it that the top sellers are doing that others are not, and then we translate these into nudges. And the nudges could be very simple. They'll just say, hey Yamini, you have 3 hours on your calendar, here are 5 things you could do. Right. We don't make it rocket science for the seller. We don't say, hey, lead conversion is 72% or higher if you call within the first 4 hours, so please start doing that. We don't leave it to chance and insight level guidance. We translate it to, hey, you have 3 hours on your calendar, here are 7 leads that you should prioritize, and there's nearly 90% probability of conversion. That's it. Right. So it becomes very click to act kind of a journey that we build out for them. That leads to significant impact for our customers on sales improvement, sales productivity improvement, and therefore significant ROI. Now, because of this, when a customer spends $1 on a CRM, which is actually pretty expensive deployment by itself, over a 2 to 3 year period, our billing comes to about $2 to $3. So we're actually charging more than the CRM eventually, because we are the ones driving outcomes. CRM is a system of record. We are the system of insight, action, and intelligence, right? Therefore, in product and engineering, what became very important for us, the buyer is different from the user, right? And increasing number of users within an account is the way for us to expand once we land, right? Therefore, daily active usage, adoption, engagement of the user becomes extremely important for us. If we don't engage them, then how will we change their behaviors? So, despite being a very B2B company, from the day one metrics that we used to track our DAO, time spent on app, etc., and user experience is one of the core skills within our product and engineering teams, right? Now, at the same time, to be able to move the needle on sales models differ from industry to industry. And therefore, when we chose to go vertical to be able to expand geographically in a very sharp way, business acumen became important. Your understanding, like how Srividhya talked about, understanding of video technologies is deeply important for them. In our case, understanding of some of these business models and how our customers operate becomes very important. So across the company over the last 2 years, we actually invested in changing the DNA from language like lead management, etc., which is very horizontal language, to, for example, bank assurance, wealth management, etc., which is very vertical driven language. And like we constantly work on every new person joining the team having an understanding of what this is. It's a very data conscious team. We may not, everything that comes into Vymo doesn't go through AI ML engines, but the most important thing is there are some purpose built models. There is a lot more we can do with the data that we have, but increasingly it's a more and more data conscious team, because you need to capture a lot of stuff. To move a salesperson's behaviors, you need to instrument the system a lot, not just on what they're doing with their customers and contacts, but how they're engaging with your own apps and tools, your nudges, your guidance, etc. Right? So instrumentation is something that we have invested in building into the DNA of every person who comes into the team. Every feature goes out with instrumentation. Every customer's data gets, like, all data across all touch points get captured, and even information that may not be relevant specifically to the sales journey but can give you insights onto customer that they're targeting, or the nature of their own business operations. We anyway let that flow through our system, because it helps correlate behaviors to outcomes. And in future, we might use that to add more power to the insights that we deliver, right? So from a product value prop, those skills became extremely important. From a enterprise grade, build, this might be different for companies that target SMB SaaS versus large enterprise, right? Performance, scalability, reliability becomes extremely important. We are at the tip of the arrow on sales and business critical workflows for customers. So if Vymo goes down for 2 minutes at 9 a.m. in the morning because 200,000 users logged in, that could have very tremendous business impact for some of our customers, right? So being able to be reliable, performing at scale, etc., becomes super important. The other big thing, especially given we are dealing with banks and insurers, right, is ability. You are a product company, and ideally you want everything to be through APIs, microservices, etc. But then you'll have to find ways to support legacy systems that the customer has, right, to embed within their stack too. And that stack evolves rapidly. They get Vymo, they see the power of some of this. They start upgrading other parts of their stack also. So eventually it will be completely API driven, but not on day zero. And we have invested in finding a way to make that journey easier for customers and sit within their stack, right? The tool needs to be extremely configurable, and you need to be able to balance. The tool needs to be extremely configurable, though you are actually selling your point of view on what is the right way to configure it, right? But yet configurability is required because nuances of how someone runs their process could make or break your relevance to their context, right? So having an extremely configurable system makes it easy for your own delivery teams to rapidly deploy certain nuances for your customer. And then taking a very platform approach, right? The moment our deals, land expand is a very core part of how we grow. When we land at 100K, typically it's a business leader who sponsors our product, and therefore the budget gets approved. When you start hitting $1 million during expansion, right, suddenly everyone in the management team has to approve such a big investment, and suddenly CIOs, CTOs start looking at what we are doing. And therefore, that is when 1.5 years ago, we switched from calling ourselves a personal sales assistant to a sales acceleration platform, because as a platform, the implication is that, hey, we can solve problems across different lines of business for you. So it's not just for one line of business. Secondly, here are the parts of your stack that we can take away. So you are running 150 apps. Vymo will not be 151st app. By putting in Vymo, you can actually take down 40 of what otherwise you would have done, right? So we bring the whole count to 111 apps instead of 151 apps. And that's kind of the platform pitch that CTOs, to make their life easy and position ourselves as a single pane of glass for sellers, and therefore be able to take a big part of stack out of the box and give it to them, right? That is the whole platform story. And therefore we do need to think like that in terms of how we build, how we think of our positioning within customer tech stack, etc. Now, in terms of marketing and sales skills, it's typically there is no budget. It's a new category that we are creating. Even Gartner doesn't have a category that says sales engagement platforms or intelligent sales engagement, etc. There is the traditional Salesforce automation and CRM, where Microsoft and Oracle and Salesforce are still leaders. Right, this is a new world. There are probably 10 companies like us doing this in different verticals. Everyone has chosen their verticals so that they can go deeper and be intelligent. So when it is a new category, we do not walk in with clear budgets that they can allocate back to us. We have to fight for creation of the value story and get the budget allocated to us. And we're talking of budgets of 250,000, 500,000, 1 million plus, right? So typically there is usually our marketing and sales team is trained to have very deep understanding of verticals and use cases and what business pain points are, right? So we go through market research exercises where we speak with our ICPs, record their overall concerns, understand what matters to management, understand what matters to business leaders, and translate that into how to pitch the product and why why now, right? And that's something that our marketing and sales teams are trained on. Second is our sales approach, and then our customer success approach is very consultative. So for all the insights and value that we can create for our clients, very rarely do CXOs open a dashboard. So we find ways to give the ROI stories back to them and highlight where the levers for improvement are. We can push this on WhatsApp. We can send this on mail. We have something called Vymo Daily, which can hit the inbox of a CXO, etc. But in spite of that, it's tough. It's important to show that you have made the delta improvement for them, because you're going to ask for a bigger check next year. But also, it's important for them to have the conviction to be able to expand to other lines, and speed up your expansion, right? Therefore, we invest a lot in consultative behaviors within our sales team, right? Identify a problem. You're not selling a feature. You're committing to solving a problem for them. Identify the problem, position accordingly, close the deal, show impact and improvement, and then sniff out more problems across the organization that we can solve, right? So it's a very consultative DNA that we carry. We also
Yamini, we have only 1 minute more.
Okay, yeah. So it's a very value sell, and if you have enough depth on understanding of the use case, you can go challenger also. Lastly, biggest learnings for us. I think there is a lot that we learned early on given we were doing large enterprise, uh, negotiations were very heavy. Being able to contract in such a way that you have room to upsell and constantly grow, even before renewals kick in, even before the 3-year period, became a big learning for us, and that unlocked a lot of upside for our customers. A lot of tech debt gets created in large enterprise because you are probably building something for the next biggest customer, the number one insurer in US, when you're onboarding them, right? That needs to go back into the product, and not tracking and clearing that constantly became a big, constantly is a burden for us, and we're still trying to get better at it. What to say no to becomes very important. For anyone targeting enterprise segment, there is no point getting tempted by 10K deals or 20K deals. And that was a hard realization for us 2 years ago, and we put a complete stop to that. But we did carry the baggage for that time period, right, before that. And that was a total distraction for the team. And I still see many, many companies erring on this front, trying to do 100K deals, but also trying to figure out, 10K deals. And I believe at this, in early stages, it's a very important choice you need to make. So that's it.
Awesome. Thanks, Yamini. I think thank you, folks, for bringing something very crisp to everybody. I'm just going to summarize in a minute or so. So if you look, these folks are really at the two ends of the spectrum. Sunil started selling at $10 a month, and then now he's selling at $1,000 a year to $40,000 a year. Yamini and Srividhya started at $5,000 a month, $10,000 a month, and have now gone to $300,000 a year. And I'm sure they have customers who are paying them even more. And what you'll realize at the two extremes, at one extreme, the product has to just sell itself. People have to refer you, people have to come, try, buy. Everything is very transparent. They're probably never going to speak to somebody from Signeasy. Obviously, 40,000 customers cannot speak to somebody from Signeasy. It's not even possible. And on the other end of the spectrum, Srividhya's customers didn't even know what they didn't know. They didn't even know that they needed a product like this. Or Yamini's customers don't even know that there is a product like this that exists, that they need to buy to improve their performance. But once they realize that need, then the dollars that they're able to spend on that are very, very large. And Srividhya is getting that from a transition from hardware to software. Yamini's created a new need in Vymo, which is that, hey, you need something to improve performance of salespeople, and it can't just be a database or a system of record, but it has to be something that every single salesperson uses every single day, right? And so the amount of effort that they are putting into understanding the customer's domain is much, much higher than what Signeasy does, because Signeasy is a very, very horizontal product. So folks, I don't want to take any more time, but I'm hoping that you can see that there is a huge spectrum of products that you can build for SaaS. You can leverage platforms like Apple, Google, Microsoft, G2 Crowd, all of these to get you in front of your customers. But be very careful. The type of ACV that you pick, the type of customer that you pick, the scale of problem that you're solving for them will require you to do very different things across your product, across your GTM, and your learnings will be very, very different. So thanks, folks. Thanks for joining. Thanks, Sunil. Thanks, Yamini. Thanks, Srividhya. See you folks later.